every day that you're travelling down to be part of a 1940s catwalk show in Halifax with your favourite vintage fashion brand. So I jumped at the chance to have this opportunity and to capture the whole thing for the memories. After a quick early morning detour to Greg's for some food, we were zipping our way down the A19 towards Halifax. The industrial northern setting quickly became all Yorkshire countryside, and the excitement was building for such a special day at the Bankfield Museum. I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to film or even what I was going to be doing today. I'm not a model and have had no experience with catwalks, apart from prancing around my bedroom as a teenager. I left my camera in the capable hands of my entourage, as House of Foxy's Clarissa called them, and headed up to the green room to try my outfit on. Upon seeing our walkthrough and the outfits on the wall, this all felt very real and very professional all of a sudden.
All the team at Bankfield Museum have been exceptionally supportive of us over the last couple of years. Not only have they let us do photo shoots here and last minute photo shoots, they let us use Chipton Park as well, Chipton Hall, and they asked us to display, they're on Sunday days, they asked us to display in last year's exhibition. So when they asked us if we would call the 1940s fashion show for them, we are absolutely thrilled to be out of it. It was also a privilege. So, thank you to all the team at Bankfield Museum. So today we're going to show you a variety of 1940s outfits. Normally when I do a fashion show it's 20s and 70s, and when I was asked originally to do 10 outfits, I thought, wow, 10 1940s outfits, okay, that's going to be a challenge. But I have to say, now we have 15 ladies and 5 men. So I got really excited about it, maybe a bit over, went a little bit over the top, which, as you know, isn't that it's something that happens when you get involved in a project. So, some of the items are very authentic, and some of them are more vintage inspired. And I will explain the outfits without hopefully boring you. music. The 1940s is a fascinating period of history, but many books call it a book, they don't go into the details. But actually,
80 years ago, on the 15th of August, the UK and the world celebrated VJ Day, marking the end of World War II. Fighting in the Asia Pacific took place from Hawaii to northeast India. Britain and the Commonwealth Principal Fighting Force, the 14th Army, was one of the most diverse in history. More than 40 languages were spoken, and all those major religions represented. The descendants of many of the Commonwealth veterans of that army are today part of the multicultural communities around the world. A lasting legacy is the success and comradeship of those who fought in the Asia Pacific. Let us pause to remember those we lost, who were wounded, scarred, whose lives were changed forever by war. We offer thanksgiving for the selflessness of those who gave us so much that we may enjoy the blessings of freedom, democracy and peace. God save the King. God save the King.
which is modeled by the lovely Laura. You may see this is actually it's actually based on the 1939 dress and jacket combination, and we added a halo hat as an extra. The dress itself is reflecting the start of people thinking about usage of materials and the war just started. It's using a higher hem, because the 1930s was much longer and much more about frills and fancies, so it's a lot simpler. And you will see that it's got the strong shoulders that are typical of the 40s that are starting to come in the late 30s. And it's got this lovely hint of which will also reflect on the dress of the one that take the jacket off and show you how perfectly this outfit matches. So we've got the hint of here in the shoulder, which really pulls the eye to the shoulder, which is very much classic of the late 30s. The halo hat is taken from an original pattern that we had made by the seamstress who actually lives in Halifax, and she makes them for us regularly, very popular. Thank you, and Laura, you look absolutely beautiful. Give us a spin. So that is our 1939 start of the war. I wouldn't be more proud. Okay. They hear me a bit better now, that's great. Thank you. Loud. Okay, so our next model is Julie. A late 30s coat, and it is very warm for her right now. And this coat is taken directly from a 1939 pattern, which we adapted. And I can tell you now that patterns in the 40s and 30s were much better and much more accurate than the patterns you buy now off the shelf. They match perfectly, the notches are amazing. So we made this in a wool, and it's fully lined. And underneath she's wearing the typical shirtwaister. When you come up here, you can pass that coat to me and be like, very, very hot for an August day. Thank you. Okay. So Julie's wearing your stereotypical shirtwaist dress, very, very common in the 40s. A very practical garment. made with limited fabric because it's been put in 7 panels. So when you're laying a pattern piece down, you can get a lot less wastage when you cut them in so many details. But obviously, that also means a lot more work. So we have a lot of gathers and tucks and yeah, a lot of trim. Thank you very much, Julie. So next we have Ellie, who is wearing a 1940s t-shirt. Beautiful. And she's got her own personal vintage bag. Ellie is a vintage fan herself, so she has a large collection of clothing, both vintage and I think repro. Do you have a lot of repro, Ellie? Yeah. It means you don't have to worry about finding vintage clothing, of course. So this dress has a bit of a story with it. The print itself is based on an original, so I might be talking for a bit of time, so if I'm getting boring, someone tell me. But about 10 years ago, a lady rocked up with a washing basket full of fabric that she was chucking out. It was like a neighbour who was, wanting to clear her house. And she was like, "How close do you want this?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So she put it down. And in it were dress sets for the 30s and 40s. And this print is definitely replicated from a dress set of fabric which was created in the 1940s, proving as well that impression that we have that the clothing was very dark and drab is inaccurate, because they were still producing beautiful prints. And the busier the better, because then you can match them and join the panels of the dresses without showing the join, and you can patch them. So this dress is a very, very good homage to the 1940s tea dress. And it's got little shoulder pads in as well. Shoulder pad. Thank you, Ellie. The wearing of trousers was considered the most significant fashion development so far. But prior to the 1940s, women, it was quite rare for them to wear trousers. We can't believe that now. But British Vogue in 1940 stated, "We deplore the drop of your women who take the war as an excuse for paddling around in slacks." Slack is indeed the word. So that's where we get the word slack from. But as you can see, it's a very, very classic look, adopted by many of us that like to wear 40s now, but was actually quite a rebellion. So Kerry's wearing her own hat, which is an original vintage, she has a large collection, and Kerry, I don't know if many of you have seen Twinwood, but she won Miss Twinwood last year, so she is a well-known vintage fashionista. Thank you, Kerry. Next we have Monica. Can everyone hear me okay with the music? Yeah? Okay. So here we have Monica, and she's wearing what we know as the siren suit, which was the suit that the ladies would put over quickly in the event of an air raid in the night. So it would go over their night clothing. It's got a front zipper, and we call it the Wartime onesie. Did you hear that? And what's really interesting is how it's still, they still apply a lot of style lines to it. It's got shoulder pads in. And beautiful pleats at the front, and it's got a lovely belt. And in her rather than carry around the Goodwood boxes, it actually is made by a lady down the road from an original pattern. I'm a bit distracted by the feedback polygraphy. Thank you, Monica! Next we have Hannah. And Hannah is, can you guess what Hannah is? She is displaying today, she is a Land Army girl. So, the Land Army, the Women's Land Army was refounded in 1939 to give extra labour during the war. And initially in December 1941 it was women aged 20 to 30 and widows without children. And then later it was expanded to women aged between 19 and 43. So although they were provided with a uniform because they had to pay for it, it wasn't compulsory. But the breeches that she's wearing are loosely based on an original. Do you love her hair? Yeah, fantastic. She's been digging all day. So this is our take on the man's girl look. Thank you so much, Hannah. Okay, we've got Laura now. I've got a lot to say about this. In June 1941, rationing of the coupon system started, and this coat as well was designed. What happened was, initially, people who had coupons for a lot of money were able to take advantage, well not take advantage, but they were able to buy clothes that lasted, whereas those that didn't have the money but the coupons were, finding that their clothes were falling apart. So the government brought in the DC-41 label, and initially approached designers to come up with stylish designs that were elegant and practical and using the fabrics that were available. She wants to take this bit, she wants to make it as well. Is it too hot? But this coat is based on an original by one of those designers from the austerity years. But what I can tell you is, the average woman, thank you. The average woman would have, everyone received in 1941 66 coupons, and by 1945-41, I can tell you that her entire outfit would have cost 35 coupons in total. So her entire outfit for the year was almost all the coupons that would have been available. So that gives you some insight into how much restriction there was on fabric and manufacture at that time. Thank you very much. Aren't we wonderful this morning? So next we have Catherine. I'm going to talk a little bit about headwear now. So obviously during the war, the ladies used to spend a lot of time on their hair. We're very familiar with the Victorian look, the pompadour, the poodle look. But obviously that was hardly wooden. It was difficult to maintain hair at that standard every day. So the rise of the turban came in, which was a really helpful, practical way of creating a beautiful look without having to maintain exquisite hair at every moment. And it also gets you out of the way. Now Catherine was wearing a dress called the Grable dress, which emulates the blouse style into a skirt. So it's got the print on the upper area and then the skirt on the bottom. And a little bolero, quite manly and style, the boxy bolero, very classic all the time. Could you use all this twirl, Catherine? Thank you very much. Here's Doreen wearing a suit that's actually American influence. So, when in 1940 when France was occupied, at that time, up till that time, Paris completely dominated the fashion virtually in the Western world. And when they could no longer do that, the Americans kind of took it on and started to release new and interesting designs, also backed up by the whole Hollywood film industry. And this outfit, which is a beautiful bolero with padded shoulders, the beautiful padded shoulder, she's paired it with the sweetheart blouse and the skirt with the pockets that reflect it. It's actually based on one that actress Martha Hunt wore. And I've got one of her books, it's one of my favourite books, called The Way We Wore, and it's an absolute, with Marshall is obsessed with all of her, so she puts together. So if you just give us a bit of a twirl again, Corey, thank you very much. And next we have Anastasia in a brand new suit that we're design. For a lot of people, the culture does represent suits, and this jacket is based on an actual original. It's made, has anyone heard of Abraham Moon's, a local firm of fabric? So the fabric in this garment is actually from a Yorkshire mill, and it's one of our premium items. It's just beautiful. It's got faux pockets, which is typical of the forces because they have restrictions on them. It can be buttoned up to the top or unbuttoned. Of course, two different looks. And she's wearing also a matching halo hat. The skirt is a twin cable skirt, lined so it's not itchy. And she's wearing our blouse, the weekend blouse, which is a very simple high neck dual neck blouse in frame crepe. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. And next we have Rachel. I have to say, the other more than just and Rachel is wearing one of our favourite dresses called O'Hara, which is a homage to the drapery style of the 1940s. So, as the war got going, ladies were discouraged from wearing extravagant clothing, women and how, and there were articles in the newspapers saying, you know, we have to accept now that ladies are expected to wear hats at every moment and dress well at every moment in terms of evening wear for long gowns. So all of a sudden it became de rigueur to wear a shorter cocktail dress. And Rachel is, if you wouldn't mind stopping there, Rachel, so I can show this it's very little fabric because it's been tucked and pleated to give the detail itself. It's got more, as one of my machinists said, it's like, does it have to have this many darts? It's got darts in the sleeves, it's got darts in the neckline, and it's got all in that. Yes, it does. So, we made this in a stretch material, but it is based on an original collection. So it shows, you know, the really classic 1940s simple evening wear, but very elegant look. Thank you very much, Rachel. Okay, we have a treat for you now. I can't resist a bit of super glamour. I just can't. Are we ready? So Debbie, I've got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to have to hurry up. Okay, so Debbie is wearing a dress called Celeste, and it is more inspired by sort of Hollywood 1940s glamour. It is made of a modern material, but it is a floor-length item, so it's more American. You would have been told off to wear if you were wearing this during the war, to be fair, but we're just going to let her off on this occasion. She's got a little capelet, she's got a little arms, and you will see, yeah, she didn't want to put the gloves on, she said, I can't do it with the gloves on. It's a beautiful sweetheart neckline, extremely flattering dress, and it's just one of our favourites. So, maybe a bit long, but why not? I mean, you can pose beautifully. Absolutely, doesn't she look absolutely stunning in it? You know, if I could, I'd go to the supermarket in this dress. In fact, why not? But don't you think we should all dress up every day? Yes, we should. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Debbie. Okay, we've got another treat for you, and this is the first time I've done many fashion shows. It's the first time I've done the Wartime. So this is Isabel, and she is wearing one of our dresses that we just started producing in noises are satin rayon. So rayon was a fabric that replaced silk and silk was banned. But also, I have a funny little story. So I was reading up on the dresses. So during the war, the dresses used to get shared out between the brides. So if you didn't have access to your own, you borrow your friends, or good ones, yeah, you'd not you, but your mum, yeah. I think my grandma said the same. Her dress was something like her sister's. So this is sort of a homage to that. It's got a high neckline. It doesn't go to the floor because that wouldn't have been an acceptable use of fabric. But also, I read a story last night about a lady that made her dress from her husband's parachute fabric, and then she dyed it afterwards and made it into a lining, but kept a square of a handkerchief to use and keep forever. And the veil we made from a vintage veil. It's not 40s, but I think it really nice finish. And it was made by Deco, who is on the back, and she did it last minute for me. So thank you very much, Ensemble. So I'm breaking the Wartime now with this finish. And this is Sarah, and she is wearing an outfit based on the autumn of 1947. So after the war, the French designer Christian Dior wanted to reclaim France as Paris as the centre, but this style didn't really come into production, well, it wasn't worn by women until after Ashley finished, which was into the 50s. Okay, so we know the men now, you want to see some men, I'm expecting wolf whistles. So, here we have a lovely outfit worn by Stuart. This is a pinstripe fishtail back trouser with a white shirt. So you can see the fishtail back. So a bit of a story about men's shirts. So up until the 50s and well into the 40s, they just made these sleeves. They just made one sleeve, one length. They just put so this is why they often wore the arm braces to keep it up because it was one length and they were all pretty long. And he's wearing a braces shirt but I'm wearing a tie. I don't know who it was next. We've got Craig. Is it Craig? Yes, Craig is here and Craig is a very good model for us. He was putting into it and Craig, but absolutely dapper. He's wearing a pink trouser and a fair sweater made with Shepley yarn based in Bradford. So this is beautiful, very nice. And he's wearing a Remembrance inspired shirt. Thank you very much. And now we have Dan, and he is wearing our country gem selection. So a little bit of a story about the trousers, which are also fishtail back. There are also style Oxford bags, which were produced a bit wider in the late 30s to accommodate hiding of golf trousers underneath, and it was something that it's called Oxford bags because it was good in the Oxford and we've just recently decided that we're going to start relaunching our menswear. We originally launched it. Thank you, Dan. We originally launched it in 2020, and we didn't know what was happening for the rest of the years after that. So it's something that we're going to relaunch and put some time into. And here we have it in a sport outfit. I thought you'd really appreciate this. Obviously a very practical garment for a country gent. And the fabric here is also from a Yorkshire mill called Abraham Mills. And we've topped it with a little flat cap in green. Do you just love his moustache? We love him. Thank you very much. Special. A couple of years ago started to recreate traditional pajamas, and I think we have our lovely Oliver going to display you. So a bit more of a relaxed theme here. So this is a traditional pajama. We managed to have some beautiful square fabric, very similar. And again, it just looked good onto the top. Do you actually use that pipe? Is it real? Is it a prop? We'll pretend it's real. So, and it's like some nice warm pyjamas. And we actually produced some ladies' versions of these because it's very typical. And in the late 30s, there was a bit of a thing about thinking you always wear pyjamas. So we actually got matching ones. We run out of the ladies, but we're still constantly. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's the first part of our show. Really good to do it. We're just going to do a quick parade. Make us feel like to do it, and I just hope that you will just give them loads of love because they're all volunteers and they've come from all over the place to come and join us today. Have they all gone back up or are they there to come back? They're going to come back. Okay, go for it. Dress Ensemble is based on a 1938 vintage original, and in 1938-39, because of what they could see coming, they were already encouraging restricted use of fabric. So hemlines started to rise, beautiful, and styles started to simplify. And you can see here a much simpler jacket than was in the 30s. It's got a lovely tie belt at the front, but it's got these beautiful pleats at the shoulder and shoulder pads. So it was just a really nice way of bringing attention without too much fuss for the era. Would you like to take the jacket off? The halo hat was made by a local seamstress and was based on an original pattern. So you can see in this style, we've got little shoulder pads, and the starburst pleats in the shoulder are repeated in the dress. So, give her a wonderful round of applause. This style is very typical of the late 30s, hemlines starting to rise and simplified design. So now we're going to look at Julie. So, Julie is there. Wonderful. Hello, Julie. Julie is wearing a replica 1930s coat, and she's had to endure wearing this coat in this heat for a while, so she'll start taking it off you shortly, so you can see a lovely shirt dress underneath. So many of you will probably be aware that 30s clothes got reworked, and this coat is an example of that, where a 1930s clothes reworked to suit and remodelled. She's going to give me that in a minute. Thank you. Wonderful. And she's wearing a very stereotypical 1940s shirtwaister, again based on original photographs and patterns of the time. It does it right to the top, but she's wearing it a little open, which is quite demure actually. And during the 40s, when measures started coming in, where you had restricted use of fabric, they went a lot into the detail. A lot of them made them themselves, so we can see lots of tucks, slits, and a panelled skirt, so you've got the best use of the fabric because it was restricted at the time. I think as well, I didn't mention earlier, we've got replica 1940s buttons as well that we got from this dress was that. And the headband is made from the same fabric. And she's wearing as well some replica 1930s shoes. Do you mind putting this back this time? Is that alright? Thank you, because I ended up in about 4 minutes. Is Ellie. So Ellie is wearing a beautiful tea dress, which is produced in a replica 1940s print. Although people assumed that the colours used were quite dour during that time, it's actually not true. This fabric was part of a hoard of fabric dress lengths that I was given by a lady who was clearing stuff from her attic, and I was brought this washing basket full of dress lengths, and this is a replica of one of those prints. And what they did was they used very busy prints so that they could patch and join seams without it being noticed. So this is a dress called the Girl Friday. It has as well little pads in, it has ruching details, and it's your stereotypical tea dress of the time, and very close to one produced by a designer called Norman Hartner. So if any history books out there want to research him, he was a prominent designer asked by the government to come up with the utility style. Ellie's holding her own original vintage bag. It accessorises the outfit itself. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Ellie. Next we have Kerry. And Kerry is wearing a pair of 1940s wide leg pants. Now, the wearing of trousers apparently was one of the most significant fashion developments of the era. So the trousers that she's wearing is very typical. Wide leg, she's put a turnip in them, but later on a turnip would not have been acceptable. The jacket she's wearing is something that is based on one that we saw in the V&A collection, and is very much an utility style. So before she goes on, I just want to tell you one thing. British Vogue, if you were here earlier, I'm quoting this, I just think it's hilarious. British Vogue quoted in 1940, "We deplore the problem of young women who take the war as an excuse for paddling around in slacks." Very slack indeed. So we know where the word slack came from, and there's nothing slack about Kerry's outfit. So she's wearing one of her own hats, isn't it, Kerry, from your own collection? Again, Kerry is she adores wearing vintage, has a huge collection, and if any of you go to Twinwood Festival, she won Miss Twinwood last year, so we're delighted to have her here. Thank you very much, Kerry. And next we have Monica, and I'm very excited to show you Monica. So have any of you heard of the siren suit? The siren suit came about in 1939 So she's tucked it into her boots, which is very common because obviously you wouldn't have worn tight trousers, that was absolutely no. But obviously that was more practical in dangerous circumstances. Monica's accessorised it, as would have been done, because no lady would have left without something stylish. She's got a gas mask case, which has been created based on an original pattern. She has left with her hair perfectly done, in a rush. And of course, it's really interesting that these siren suits, they still had shoulder pads in, and they still were made with detail. So the ladies at the time, despite the circumstances, wanted to put effort into everything that they wore. Thank you very much, Monica. Absolutely brilliant. Keep a little bit of my notes so that I don't forget things. Okay, so we are going to see Hannah now, who absolutely adores this outfit. So Hannah is, I'm sure you can guess, playing the role of a land girl. So the Women's Land Army was refounded after the First World War in 1939 to give extra labour. And I know lots about this, but I'm just going to give you a few little sneaky details. Before you walk down, Hannah, she is wearing a corduroy, so the breeches that you see were part of the uniform that they weren't forced to buy, but they could. And they were normally this colour, but there was a green jumper or a little fair one. Using yarns from Bradford, we tried to use as much local material as possible. So these are from Tottenham's fabric. So they would have all these breeches. They had a front fastening. I've moved it to the side just for a bit more flattering lines, but you never know how big about it. And the hoe is lent by our seamstresses. Thank you very much. So just a few facts about this time. During 1941, the Land Army, which pulled together to bring more labour, to help with food production, initially was single women aged 20 to 30 and widows without children. And then later, all women between the ages of 19 and 43 were even called into active service on the Land Army. So I did not realise until I reread that quite how many ladies were contributing in a huge way during that time. Thank you very much, Hannah. I understand why I went over time this morning. I can't, sometimes I don't know what I've got in my head. So, Laura. Okay, I've got lots to say about this outfit as well. So Laura is wearing a utility coat. So after the rationing came in, well, I'll just tell you a bit about the rationing. So 1941, the rationing came in and you had coupons, and every person had 66 clothing coupons to use per year. A coat was worth 14, a blouse 5, and skirts 7 coupons. By 1945, they reduced it to 41 coupons, and this entire outfit, including the hat and the shoes, would have taken almost all of your yearly coupons. So how lucky are you nowadays? Just makes you think, doesn't it? Do you want to leave the coat on, or do you want to pass it to me? You're fine with the coat on, because they're just like, oh my goodness, it's boiling in here. So this is a 100% wool, and it's got these big pockets that were particularly practical. And what happened after rationing and the coupons, the government asked the designers to know it was looking really nice, something practical and elegant, to encourage ladies to buy. And this is part of you've heard of the CC41 label. So this coat is actually kind of based around an original that I've seen pictures and patterns of. So big pockets, but not too much trim, not too much clothes, nice big shoulder pads, because of the shoulder pads in the 40s. And as she walks back, you'll see the pleats in the back of the movement and practicality. Thank you so much, Laura. So almost an entire year's of coupons in that outfit alone. Okay, so next we have Catherine. The lovely Catherine. And she's wearing one from I'm a little bit of the local seas influence. And I'll talk a little bit about the bolero, which was a very common Foxy really emphasised the waist. And of course there were lots of dancing opportunities, during the war, dinner dances, in the American bases. Apparently my grandma used to sneak out to go to dances. Yeah, looking at Jean, I've had this conversation. So lovely Catherine's also wearing a turban. So this is also, looking at how much fuss ladies put into that hair. So a turban was an excellent way of really creating a lovely look without too much fuss on that occasion. So hopefully she'll give us a twirl. This skirt has 7 panels. Perfect example. Also a very common feature during the 40s. Thank you so much. Thank you, Catherine. Next we have lovely Doreen. So, part of our collection. In 1940, Paris, France was occupied. So they no longer became the centre of the universe where fashion was concerned. The Americans kind of took that on a little bit. They kind of got involved. And also because of the silver screen. Now this outfit is based on one worn by Marsha Hunt, who was a real lover of fashion, and she produced a book called The Way We Wore, which is one of my favourite go-to books. So this is a blend skirt with a deep pocket reflected in the faux pocket of the bolero itself. It's got a nice deep two shoulder pads. I'm looking at Emery here. 2 shoulder pads in those one. And she's wearing a sweetheart blouse, which is an American style. It's got the pockets here now, which no way the British would have added a faux pocket like that. So it's definitely American influence, that one. So, yeah, if you want to give the wall back down, let me put with that. So this is only a little national. So come on, thank you, Doreen. Next we have Anastasia. I'm a real lover of the 40s suit. It's a real iconic look. And, I'm allowed to have a little bit of creative license, and this jacket is actually based on the original, but I have tweaked it a little to conform to a bit of utility guidelines. So the pocket details are faux, and it has, I'm really proud of this bit here. So it has 3 pleats into the body, creating a really lovely lifted look. Does it feel good? Yeah, it does feel good. She likes this outfit. The skirt is perhaps a bit longer than it would have been in the 40s, but we've left it a bit longer so that it can be taken up, because obviously, you have a lot of different height ladies. So this has a twin pleat for walking, and it's actually, it may be practical. I think it's really hot. The skirt, really nice, of different temperature. So as well, she's wearing the halo right here, which sometimes is worn to the side for an asymmetrical look. But again, this is based on actually an original pattern. So it is sort of a story in itself, this outfit, but it has lots of very authentic elements, and it's absolutely beautiful in the red and in the sky. The last thing I will say is that the fabric on this outfit is from Abraham Hughes, who you probably know based in Yorkshire, I want to say Otley, and I always get Otley and Otley mixed up. Guys, ladies, okay. Next we have Rachel, who is wearing a dress called the O'Hara dress. Now, I put this dress in particularly because there were lots of reports during the 40s about not being extravagant, not having extravagance in your dresses. So ladies have gone from being super extravagant in the 30s to actually having to calm down. So for the first time it was okay to go out not wearing a hat, okay to go out not wearing full leather. And with the restrictions in the fabric usage, Rachel, you just start at the end point here, with restrictions in the fabric usage, you had to get clever. So there are more tucks and darts and gathers in here, in this dress than you would normally put in, because, we wanted to capture this So it's got darts in its sleeves, in its neck, and I'm on bus line, and Julie was making it said to me, why do you have so many darts in this dress? As though, because it needs to, it's authentic. However, it is also in the modern fabric. Beautiful colour, and very, very classic 40s style square neckline. Thank you, Rachel. We're breaking away from austerity now and going into a bit of glam. And here is Debbie wearing, I would say, more of an influence by the 40s dress. So this is made in modern fabrics, and it's very much your evening wear. She's got a little cape over the top. And again, there were lots of patterns around for that. And she is carrying some envelopes, but she said to me, I'm not able to take that cape off whilst wearing the clothes. So this is a homage to Hollywood glam, sweetheart neckline, beautiful floor-length gown. Very, very much is inspired by the 40s rather than being a faithful reproduction. I've worn this dress, not this actual one, but the dress. Absolutely gorgeous, comfortable to wear, feels like $1 billion, and I think she looks $1 million too, don't you agree? Thank you! I'll be giving a nod back up to Russia. So, first time this morning that I've done a bridal dress, so I tend to give them to the bridal shop. So this is a dress called the Girl Friday, but we made it in oyster satin, which is a rayon satin because silk wasn't available during the war years. So, I've read a lot of stories about wedding dresses at the time, and this is based loosely on one that was shared around between ladies who were getting married, because one, there was no access to the fabric, but also, why would you? You should happily share it during that time, or leave it to do. However, I also read a story last night about a lady who made her wedding dress out of her husband's parachute fabric. And afterwards, because of the rationing still carried on for many years, afterwards she dyed it and used it as a lining in her coat, but kept a square of the original fabric as a memento. So, there's a lot of story behind the bride at that time. Thank you very much. So, here we have when things started to change, and this is Sarah wearing a homage to Dior's new look of 1947. It is worth reminding ourselves that rationing of clothing didn't stop for many years later. What we got planned. And women wouldn't have been wearing this sort of volume skirt for many, many years, but the 1947 images of model Renee in this really caused a stir. I mean, I was an absolute, I wanted to give us a really big twirl here. That's just beautiful. Thank you so much. So, we're now going to introduce the men. And I really want lots of cheering for these guys, because they came in last minute. I put up for this video on. So this story is something I'm an expert in, but it is something I wanted to revive. So Stuart is wearing a pinstripe, fishtail trouser and waistcoat. He's wearing a hat from his own collection, but he does wear vintage a lot. So I asked him if he would show us the fishtail bag trouser, which was very common style. Men's wear didn't really change between 30s and 50s. It kind of stayed very similar. And the man was often married in the same suit that he ended up, I don't want to say it, but he did. So, just a little bit about the shirt. So I don't know a lot about men's wear at the moment, I'm probably researching, but on these original shirts, I was told that they just used to put the sleeves all in one row. They did just hundreds of sleeves in the same length. And that's why they often put together with the braces on the upper arm, because they were obviously far too long for the majority of men. Okay, so now we've got, I know I've got a lot of time, so I'm sorry if I'm rushing. So now we've got the lovely Craig, who is wearing pink trousers. These are two pink trousers, and they are maybe a bit later, of the 1940s, but he's also wearing a fair owl vest or we try to use local supplies as much as possible. The shirt, you can't see it, but it's one of the over-the-head ones because the majority of shirts were buttoned all the way down to the bottom. You wouldn't have wasted buttons. But that's why we put to the front, and there was a slight piece to the front. I'm not actually saying to approach them. Thank you very much, Craig. It will take Dan now, because I know you haven't got a lot of time. Dan is wearing a Abraham Moon fabric trousers and waistcoat set again. This is a fishtail bag, but it is quite a wide leg, and it's not dissimilar to many of you have heard of the Oxford bag story, where the wide leg trousers were worn by students at Oxford to cover up the fact that they had golf trousers underneath. I don't think he's got them underneath there. But this is a stone revealer waistcoat, and it's wearing a black cap as well. Thank you very much. Now we have Nick. Look at this look, it's so dapper. I've done it before. I think every man should wear these. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. Very practical outfit. Again, an Abraham Moon's fabric, and just worn with a simple waistcoat, and probably braces underneath. Can you wear braces underneath? Yes, braces underneath. Yeah. I love the cravat actually. Is it comfy? Is the outfit comfy? Yeah. And very practical. And the design is based on an original, the principles are based on an original that we found. Okay, so to save the bananas, so we've got lovely Oliver, who is going to walk on now and is wearing and I thought I have to do this. This is like based on that. There's nothing better than the traditional pyjama, is there? So nice. And he's accessorised this himself. This is what is the magazine? House of Foxy. Great. Love it. Is it comfy in there? Very comfy. But we brought out for the ladies matching pyjamas, so his and hers. So there was a trend in the late 30s to call the boyfriend pyjamas, but it was the whole idea of nicking your boyfriend's pyjamas. So yeah. I would have maybe had somebody else wear them, but I reserved it for you, Oliver. Thank you so much. So, that concludes our show. I hope you enjoyed it. There is always so much more to say, and I quite honestly, I've spread so many things, and I don't know where it all comes from anyway, so if you want to ask me any questions, please do so. I would ask you now to give a huge round of applause to Molly. I think it's a long answer. I'd also really like to thank all the team at House of Foxy who helped this happen, and the ones that are pretty much new who were during us today to make this beautiful lighting. You know who you are. And also thank you to Bankfield Museum who have supported the House of Foxy relentlessly to all the team. We've let us take photo shoots and everything here, and really supported us. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and interesting things, and have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.
And then all too soon it was time to go home with my hair getting messier by the second. I hope you like this video and follow me for more.